Hey, what's going on guys? Today we are going to be going through the top 10 hardest champions to master in League of Legends. So if you want to find out which are the top 10 hardest champions to master, then make sure to watch this video all the way through to the end. With that said, enjoy the video guys. Coming up on number 10 we have the original Indie brother himself, Yasuo, the inventor of the 0-10 power spike. While playing League, you will encounter two types of Yasuos. The one that can completely outplay the enemy team through masterful maneuvers and quick wits, and you have the Yasuo that can go 0-10 by the 15-minute mark. The difference between these two players is that one takes time to master the champion by practicing, learning and watching videos, while the other just kind of goes for it. While Yasuo is incredibly hard to play, it offers a ton of skill expression that allows him to outplay his opponents through a series of quick combos that leave them bamboozled. On number 9 we have Kalista. Although not one of the most popular champions in Season 12, the few who mastered her are still giving bot laners nightmares. Kalista has arguably one of the most unique playstyles of out of any ADC. The reason for this being that every auto attack makes Kalista dash, and combine that with her spears and double jumps, and you have a really hard and mechanical intense champion. If that wasn't enough to make her hard to play, her ultimate can either win teamfights and save teammates, or lose teamfights and doom teammates. Her Rand can shred any tank, and a good use of her resets can mean the difference between a good and excellent Kalista. The number 8 spot belongs to the only support on our list, Thresh. The Chain Warden is the epitome of skill when it comes to support picks, whether by landing every single hook, outplaying the enemy through predictions, or simply by using his extremely overpowered lantern. Thresh offers anything someone could possibly need. A good Thresh understands all of his intricacies of his kit and adapts accordingly to the situation. He is also quite versatile. If you need CC, you can max his hook first. Disengaging damage, well, how about an E? Or maybe shielding and making sure your AD carry never gets ganked, then W is your answer. His ability to be so versatile, build a myriad of different items and build paths, make him a pretty difficult champion to master, and for that reason he is number 8 on our list. On our number 7 spot we have Gangplank. A champion you don't see very often in your games, and for a reason, because he is quite difficult to play right. Although when you do see him, he solo carries with his mighty barrels that win the game in one team fight. Gangplank is right up there with the big boys when it comes to the amount of time invested to truly master. The very first thing you have to master is how to play the lane phase with the farming, trading, dueling and sustaining, so you can scale faster. The next thing you have to master is his kit, the barrels, the cleanses, the heals, the ultimate and the combos you can implement with this champion. The final thing you have to master with this champion is teamfights. You can definitely carry teamfights with this champion. However, he is a pretty squishy champion with no mobility, so you need to know who to target and how to position yourself to present the greatest damage output possible before dying. And for all these reasons he ranks number 7 on our list. On number 6 we have Qiyana. Qiyana's burst potential with her quick and flashy combos is so high that before you know it you're dead and looking for the next thing to buy during your stay in the base. Although Qiyana is all about one-shotting your enemies with your quick and flashy combos, it is definitely not an easy thing to do. Just in her basic kit, there is a ton of things to learn and master, starting with her elements. When is it worth it to get the river element for the root, or when do you need the damage from terrain, and when you need to spam that stealth rush instead. And a huge part of mastering her is understanding when to use each form in the right situation. This champion is definitely very difficult to play and master. On our next spot we have the queen of outplay potential, Irelia. Her ability to dance around the enemies with her dashes, combined with her stun, her damage reduction, her ult and her passive makes her a very mechanically intense champion that requires a lot of time to properly understand. You need to play with your passive, understand timings, the damage you can tank, your range, and how to be unpredictable with your amazing mobility. Overall, she is a very demanding champion in which the sky is the limit. The number 4 spot is being given to Lee Sin. There is a reason why this champion is always relevant in high elo no matter the meta. The reason for this being that Lee Sin is one of those champions that is super rewarding if you have the right skills. This blind man has arguably one of the highest skill ceiling in the game, which is due to his unique and creative kit that grants him a huge array of combos and tricks that you just keep learning. That alone is enough reason for him to be on this list. The difference between a good and bad Lee Sin is the appropriate use of his kit according to his current situation. You must be able to discern when it is time to use what and in what order. On top of that, you add the different ways he can impact the game, whether it is by kicking an enemy ADC into your own team and killing them, or landing a 5-man kick flash to turn a team fight around. With this champion, the sky is once again the limit. On our third spot we have another unique champion, this time a mage back in the mid lane. This hyper-scaling mage is capable of destroying an enemy team with his ult, fly around with his top tier mobility, or dealing big chunks of damage from kilometers away with his soldiers. A big part of learning this champion is understanding how to stay alive during the early and mid game, as this is the time where Azir is truly at his weakest. He needs to farm really well to be considered relevant in the mid game. On another note, Azir is a very mechanically intense champion. Instead of having normal damaging abilities, Azir summons soldiers to do damage for him. Aside from that, you have to learn how to properly position yourself and learn his myriad of combos, all of which require a lot of practice to master. Then comes his ultimate, which is one of the most game-changing abilities, especially in teamfights. Or it can be useless. Azir is a high-risk, high-reward champion, which can bring a huge impact in the game if the player piloting him is proficient with him. On our second spot we have everyone's favorite exile, Riven. Riven is the ultimate animation cancelling and mechanically intense champion that also has the biggest catalog of combos in the entire game. This is a champion whose effectiveness is completely decided by the person playing her. When you look at her kit, it seems pretty simple and relatively easy to play. You just spam your ability and move around freely with no mana and auto attack when you can. However, there are a variety of combos you can use to remove the auto attack delay, cancel animations, optimize your damage and burst, and to make yourself far more difficult to play against. Her combos not only provide the things I mentioned previously, but also provide her with good mobility and a ton of gap closing options. Riven, much like Aurelia, has a huge outplay capability. If you're looking for a champion to dump hours onto, Riven is your girl. Finally, on number 1, you probably guessed it, we have Aphelios, the champion whose passive description is bigger than most books. The number of times I've seen people run into a low HP Aphelios and then dying because they don't know what he is capable of is insane. A large part of learning and mastering Aphelios is learning how to use each of his 5 possible weapons. You need to know how to spend and save ammunition in order to favor your next weapon. Overall, this is a champion you really need to study, as he has a lot of possible outplay capabilities and a lot of possible playstyles that depend on his current weapon. So you need to study him and really understand him in order to make the most of him, which is quite difficult and requires plenty of hours to do right. And that's it for our list, guys. If you enjoyed it and you agree with it, make sure to leave a like, comment and subscribe. If you disagree, let us know in the comments what you think of it. That is it guys, see you next time.